Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Easy English Lab. I'm Mia, and today we're starting a very special series that I'm really excited about.
And I'm Leo. We're going to share an amazing true story about an English learner's journey. This series will help you learn natural English while following a real person's experiences.
That's right, Leo. We'll follow Anna's story from her first day in an English-speaking country to becoming a confident speaker. And the best part? You'll learn practical English phrases and vocabulary throughout her journey.
So let's begin with part 1, the beginning, my first English words.
Let me introduce you to Anna. She was 24 years old when she moved from Vietnam to London for her first job. She had studied English in school for 10 years, but when she arrived at Heathrow Airport, she suddenly realized she couldn't understand anything people were saying.
That must have been terrifying. What was her English level at that time?
She knew grammar rules and could write decently, but her speaking and listening were at a beginner level. She had learned British English in school, but the real British accent sounded completely different to her ears.
I remember feeling the same way when I first traveled abroad. The English I learned in classrooms was so different from how people actually speak.
Exactly. Anna's first challenge came at immigration. The officer asked her, "What's the purpose of your visit?" She understood the words, but froze. She had prepared an answer, but in that moment, her mind went blank.
What did she say?
She just said, "Work. I come for work," in a very quiet voice. The officer smiled and said, "Welcome to the UK. How long will you be staying?" She didn't understand staying, so she just stared blankly.
Oh no. How did she get through?
The officer realized she was struggling and spoke slower. "How long in England?" Then she understood and said, 2 years. It was her first lesson in real English communication.
That's a humbling first experience. What happened when she left the airport?
She needed to take the tube. That's what they call the subway in London. She had the address of her new apartment, but she couldn't understand the announcements on the train. Everything sounded like one long, confusing word.
I think every English learner has experienced that feeling. You study for years, then real conversation sounds like a different language.
Absolutely. When she finally arrived at her apartment building, the landlord was waiting. He spoke very fast and used words she'd never heard before. He said, "The rent's due on the 1st, utilities aren't included, and you'll need a guarantor."
Those are such specific vocabulary words. I bet she didn't learn utilities or guarantor in her English classes.
She didn't. She just nodded and said, "Yes, okay," without understanding. That night, in her empty apartment, she felt completely overwhelmed. She called her mother and cried. She wanted to go home.
That's so sad. But she didn't give up, right?
No, she made a decision that night. She opened her notebook and wrote, "I will learn real English." And she started with the most basic thing, introducing herself.
That's a good place to start. What did she practice?
She stood in front of her mirror and practiced, "Hello, my name is Anna. I'm from Vietnam. I'm a software developer. I just moved here." She repeated it 50 times until she could say it without thinking.
Smart. Building muscle memory for basic phrases is so important.
The next morning, she went to a coffee shop near her apartment. This was her first real test. She practiced her order in her head, "Medium coffee with milk, please." But when she got to the counter, the barista said, "What can I get you for today?" And she panicked.
What did she say?
She just pointed at the coffee and said, "This, please." The barista asked, "Anything else?" And she shook her head. She was too nervous to use her prepared sentence.
Oh no, I've done that so many times. It's frustrating when you know the words but can't say them.
It taught her an important lesson. Knowing English and using English are two different skills. She needed to practice speaking, not just studying.
So, what did she change about her learning method?
She started talking to herself in English. When she cooked breakfast, she'd say, "I'm making eggs, I'm boiling water, I'm setting the table." It felt silly, but it helped her think in English.
That's actually a great technique. I still do that sometimes. It builds fluency.
She also started watching British TV shows with subtitles. At first, she used Vietnamese subtitles, but after 2 weeks, she switched to English subtitles. This helped connect the written words with the spoken sounds.
How long did it take before she noticed improvement?
After 1 month, she could understand about 30% of conversations around her. She could order coffee without pointing, but making real friends was still difficult, which leads us to our next part of the story. After 1 month in London, Anna could handle basic daily tasks, but she felt very lonely. She missed having friends to talk to.
Making friends in a new country is always challenging, especially when there's a language barrier. How did she meet people?
She tried joining a language exchange group she found online. The first meeting was at a pub near her office. She was so nervous that she almost didn't go.
I can imagine. Walking into a room full of strangers speaking English sounds terrifying.
When she arrived, everyone was already talking in small groups. She stood near the door, too scared to approach anyone. Then an older British man noticed her and said, "First time?"
That was nice of him. What did she say?
She just nodded. The man introduced himself as David and explained how the language exchange worked. He said, "We talk for 30 minutes in English, then 30 minutes in other languages. Don't worry about mistakes. We're all learning."
That sounds like a supportive environment. Did she join a conversation?
David introduced her to a Spanish woman named Maria who wanted to practice English too. Maria's English was about the same level as Anna's, so they felt comfortable making mistakes together.
That's perfect. Learning with someone at a similar level can be less intimidating.
Their first conversation was very simple. They talked about their jobs, their hometowns, and why they moved to London. Anna used a lot of and sorry, and sometimes forgot words, but Maria was patient.
What was the biggest challenge in that first conversation?
When Maria asked, "What do you do for fun?" Anna didn't understand "for fun." She thought it was a new vocabulary word. Maria explained it meant hobbies or things you enjoy.
That's the kind of practical English you don't always learn in textbooks.
Exactly. After the language exchange, Maria invited Anna to have dinner with her family the next weekend. Anna was excited but also nervous about meeting more people.
How did she prepare for the dinner?
She spent the whole week preparing. She made a list of possible conversation topics and practiced answers to common questions. She even learned how to talk about Vietnamese food in English.
That's thorough preparation. Did it help?
It helped with her confidence, but the actual conversation went very differently than she expected. Maria's husband, Mark, was a native English speaker who talked very fast and used a lot of British slang.
Oh no. Like, what kind of slang?
He said things like, "I'm knackered," instead of "I'm tired," and "That's brilliant," instead of "That's great." Anna kept smiling and nodding, but she understood only about half of what he said.
British slang can be really confusing. Even people who speak English well struggle with it sometimes.
Absolutely. The turning point came when Mark asked Anna about Vietnamese food. She had prepared for this question. She started describing pho, a traditional Vietnamese soup.
How did she describe it?
She said, "It's soup with noodles and meat. We eat it for breakfast. It has special taste." She couldn't find the word for broth or aromatic, but she used her hands to show the size of the bowl and how you eat it.
Using gestures is such an important communication strategy when you don't have the words.
Absolutely. Mark was fascinated. He asked more questions, and Anna found that when she talked about something she loved, the words came more easily. She forgot to be nervous.
That's a great discovery. When we're passionate about a topic, we communicate better.
After that dinner, Maria and Anna became close friends. They started meeting twice a week for English practice dates. But Anna's biggest challenge was still ahead of her, her first presentation at work. After 3 months in London, Anna was feeling more confident with social English, but work was still a big challenge.
Work English is often more formal and technical. What kind of job did she have?
She was a junior software developer at a tech company. Most of her team members were British, and they used a lot of technical terms and office slang.
What was the biggest problem at work?
Meetings. People spoke fast, interrupted each other, and used idioms she didn't understand. She often left meetings confused about what she was supposed to do.
That's frustrating, especially when it affects your work.
Her manager noticed she was struggling and called her into his office. Anna was terrified she would be fired. But instead, he said, "Anna, your technical work is excellent, but I need you to participate more in meetings."
That was actually good feedback. What did she say?
She admitted she had trouble understanding everything. Her manager was surprised. He thought she was quiet because she was shy, not because she didn't understand.
That's a common misunderstanding. Sometimes people think non-native speakers are unfriendly when really they're just struggling with the language.
Exactly. Her manager was very supportive. He started making sure people spoke slower in meetings and avoided idioms when possible. He also suggested she take a business English course.
That's a great manager. Did she take the course?
Yes, the company paid for it. But the real breakthrough came when she had to give her first presentation to the whole team.
I get nervous presenting in my native language. I can't imagine doing it in English.
She prepared for 2 weeks. She wrote every word she would say and practiced with Maria every evening. She even recorded herself and listened back to improve her pronunciation.
That's dedication. How did the presentation go?
The first 5 minutes went perfectly. She remembered everything she practiced. But then someone asked a question she hadn't prepared for.
Oh no. What was the question?
How does this solution scale for enterprise clients? She didn't understand the word scale in this context. She just stood there silently, getting more and more nervous.
That's my worst nightmare. What did she do?
She took a deep breath and said, "Could you please explain what you mean by scale?" It was the first time she had asked for clarification in a meeting.
That took courage. How did people react?
Her colleague explained the question in simpler terms, and she was able to answer. After that, she felt more confident asking questions when she didn't understand something.
That's a huge step forward. Many English learners are afraid to ask for clarification because they don't want to look stupid.
Exactly. After the presentation, several colleagues complimented her work. One even said, "Your English is much better than my Vietnamese," which made her laugh.
It sounds like that experience changed her attitude toward making mistakes at work.
It did. She realized that people cared more about her ideas than her perfect grammar. But just when she was feeling more confident, she faced her biggest embarrassment yet.
Mia, you said Anna faced her biggest embarrassment. What happened?
The company had its annual party at a fancy restaurant. Anna was excited to socialize with her colleagues outside of work.
Those events can be challenging because people are more casual and the conversations move quickly.
Exactly. Anna was talking to a group of colleagues about weekend plans. Someone asked her, "What did you get up to last weekend?"
Get up to, that's such a British expression. It means, what did you do?
She didn't know that. She thought they were asking what time she woke up, so she said, "I got up at 7 o'clock." Everyone looked confused, then started laughing.
Oh no, that must have been embarrassing.
It was, but then something wonderful happened. Instead of feeling humiliated, Anna started laughing with them. She said, "Did I say something wrong?" And they explained the expression.
That's a great attitude. Being able to laugh at yourself is so important when learning a language.
That moment was her turning point. She realized that mistakes could be funny learning opportunities rather than something to be ashamed of.
How did this change her approach to learning English?
She became more adventurous with her language use. She tried new words and expressions without worrying about being perfect. She started watching British comedy shows to learn humor and cultural references.
Comedy is challenging because it often depends on wordplay and cultural context.
It was difficult at first, but gradually she started understanding the jokes. She even learned to use humor in her conversations, which made her more relatable to her British friends.
How long had she been in London at this point?
About 8 months. Her English had improved dramatically, but she still had one big challenge: understanding different British accents.
That's a common struggle. The UK has so many regional accents.
Her company transferred her to work on a project with a team from Scotland. The first time she spoke with them on video call, she understood almost nothing.
Scottish accents can be particularly challenging. What did she do?
She asked her Scottish colleague to speak slower, and she started watching Scottish TV shows to train her ear. It took about a month, but she gradually adapted.
That's impressive dedication. Where is Anna now with her English journey?
She's been in London for 2 years now. She's not perfect. She still makes mistakes and sometimes doesn't understand everything, but she's confident and functional.
What would she say is the most important lesson she learned?
She says the key was shifting her mindset from "I need to speak perfect English" to "I need to communicate effectively." Once she stopped worrying about every mistake, her fluency improved rapidly.
That's such valuable advice for all English learners. What specific tips would she give?
Well, first, make friends with people who don't speak your native language. Second, don't be afraid to ask for clarification. Third, learn to laugh at your mistakes. And fourth, be patient with yourself. Language learning is a marathon, not a sprint.
And now, 2 years later, she's giving presentations, leading meetings, and even mentoring new employees who are non-native English speakers.
Exactly. She's come full circle. And her story shows that with persistence, courage, and the right attitude, anyone can overcome the challenges of learning English.
Thank you for sharing Anna's inspiring journey with us. I hope our listeners found it helpful and motivating.
Remember, every fluent English speaker was once a beginner who struggled. Keep practicing, keep learning, and don't give up.